Welcome, Sandra. Good to see you.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here, everybody. And that's really interesting to hear everybody's stories and where they're at. And it's not uncommon to hear some of those stories, but there are ways around it. I think the focus of today's webinar was actually geared more towards people who are already running ads. So the sorts of things that they can do to try and optimize their ads even more. A few of you might find that it's a little bit too technical for your level at the moment, but what I would say is go to the business partnership website. In one of Rob's blogs, there is a recording that I did in November, and that actually goes through all of the different strategies, all of the different campaign types, how Google can work for your business, some of the things to look out for as well. So that, I think, is probably going to be most useful for a few of you, rather than what we're actually going to talk about today. But you might still pick up a few things anyway. So I will share my screen. On there. Share. Fabulous. Minimize that so I don't see my face. There we go. Brilliant. So let's make a start. Hello me, I'm Sandra, and I run All Aspect Media Limited, which helps businesses to get spotted online through various strategies and pay-per-click campaigns. I specialize in Google Ads. I'm a certified Google partner. I'm on the Google Partner Advisory Board, and my screen has stopped. I think there we go. I've spent over £14 million since I went full-time at this in 2018. I also do some white label work for other global agencies. So I build people's campaigns for them behind the scenes, and they don't even know that I'm there. So today, as I've already said, we're going to look at some of the best practices and strategies. The biggest issue that's causing problems with advertisers, which is consent mode and enhanced conversions. So we'll kick off with that one first. There have been quite a few changes in the privacy regulations at the start of this year. It's all to do with the phasing out of third-party cookies and replacing it with first-party cookies. And first-party cookies and data are the information that you get directly from people entering information onto your website, rather than gathering information from outside of your website. The major change is that you must now seek consent before you track anything. The issue with this is you can actually lose a lot of information about people, about who's visiting your website, about what they're doing, whether they've actually converted, what they're interested in, if they click that they decline your cookie policy. Your general cookie banners that you will have on your website at the moment do not comply with the recent regulation changes, so they do need changes. So what can we do? Google's come up with a consent mode, and it's basically just a new way to make sure that you stay compliant with all the regulations and rules. It's a tag, and it interacts with your current cookie banner, and it changes the way that it transmits that data to Google before and after the user accepts or declines your cookies. So that's the key point. It makes the change before and after consent. Does it affect my website? We might think, well, I don't do ads. I don't have any cookies on my website. It doesn't affect me. It does. If you've got a website and you're a UK business, it affects you. Every website automatically saves data such as IP addresses as standard. It sends it to your server logs. So with the new privacy rules, you're not allowed to save that information unless you've got agreement. Consent mode will actually resolve those issues for you, because it will stop you from saving that information until somebody says, yes, okay, you can have that information. If you have any form fields on your websites, those are cookies. So it affects that. If you're running ads, obviously it affects those as well. How do you implement consent mode? It will need a web developer to make some changes to your existing cookie. There's a link here highlighted in yellow, and that will give them all the information that they need to make the changes. Alternatively, which I think is a fab option, it is to implement a cookie yes pop-up. And a cookie yes is completely free. It's completely GDPR compliant. So it takes away all worry. Really simple. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up. It's essentially a new cookie banner for you that is fully compliant. It comes with the standard blue color that you can see on the padlock here. If you want to edit it so it matches the style of your website, you can, but then that's a paid version. So that, I think, would be a great option and would solve all your problems. You have to make some changes in your Google Analytics account as well if you're wanting to track anything. And if you're doing ads, you will be tracking things, so this will apply to you. I've added some screenshots. I won't go through all the details, but you can go back and you can have a look at all the places that you need to make the changes in order to comply and set it in motion. You also, oh no, that's next screen. So what happens if they decline the cookies? So we've already said that you won't be able to record any personal data, no form fills, no locations, no IP addresses. You won't be able to remarket to them, which is pretty much essential these days if you're running any kind of ads, because you've got somebody that's come to your website who's really interested in your services, and then they'll disappear and they never hear of you again. So retargeting is really, really important. You will have less understanding of who it is that's visiting your website, how they're interacting with it. So you're not going to be able to understand where perhaps you need to make changes on your website to improve it. And your understanding and Google's understanding of how both your website and how your ads are performing is basically going to deteriorate into pretty much nothing. So running ads will be a nightmare. You won't be able to track any conversions. Enhanced conversions to the rescue. Enhanced conversions enables you to capture the data even when the cookies are declined. It's the only way at the moment that I know of that you can do it. Essentially, what it does is if somebody is signed in with their Google profile, which most people don't ever sign out of it, if they just open their browser and they're already automatically in their profile. If they then click on your ad, go to your website, and then carry out an action, so they'll fill in a form, they'll put any of their data in, that data is hashtagged and it's sent anonymously to Google. Google then matches that data with the data that it has, and it can then track back and attribute conversion to your ad. So it's a way around of measuring conversions that otherwise you would have been lost. It would have been lost. So you can still continue to run ads and they'll actually be valuable data for you. So you need to switch on enhanced conversions in your Google Ads account. Again, I've done the screenshot of where you need to go, so you can pop back later and have a look. You'll also need to make some changes in your Google Tag Manager to how your events are triggered. And there are some screenshots of what you need to change. So that's the heavy bit done. Sorry about that. So on to the best practices and strategies. So we'll take a look at all of these items. Hopefully we should have enough time. Campaign structure. The structure of your account does dramatically affect how well your ads perform. You essentially want to have one campaign. A lot of people split their campaigns out by theme. It's not necessary. In fact, Google actually prefers it to be in one campaign. It likes big data. You might have heard of that term if you've been interested in Google Ads before. The only reason you would need to set out a separate campaign is if, for example, you have several locations and you've got a landing page which has a different phone number for that location, and it talks about that particular location, and you want to target different locations. So you want to make sure that if you're using generic keywords, your correct landing page is fired for that location that you want to target. Otherwise, stick them all onto one campaign. You can amalgamate your budget and the bidding strategies work a lot better. Inside the campaign, you want to split out by ad group into themes. Don't split out by keyword match type, which a lot of people do, not necessary. Split out by themes. So for example, cat food, dog food, rabbit food. Inside each of those ad groups, you have your keywords, and those keywords must be relevant to that theme. So dry cat food, wet cat food, chicken flavored cat food, hypoallergenic cat food. You can stick them all in that ad group, have one ad for that ad group. And the latest ads are responsive search ads, which I went into detail in my previous seminar, so you can have a look at that. But essentially, there's about 30,000 and more combinations of ads with one single responsive search ad. So you only need one ad in each ad group. When we look at the ad group themes, this is what it looks like. So on the left, we've got the ad groups. Here we've got retirement planning. And in that ad group, you can see the list of keywords. We've got things like retirement planning advisor, retirement plan consultants. We've got retirement specialists near me. And we've got the match types of exact and phrase match. What you can do is if you find that particular keywords are performing well, take them out, both match type versions, take them out and stick them into their own ad group. Then you can really tailor the ad towards those keywords, and it will be much more relevant for whoever's searching for those keywords, and you'll find that your click-through rate will increase as well. Now, keywords. I know somebody said they had problems with search queries coming up for all sorts of things that they weren't targeting, and this will be why. So, for example, here, the keyword is going to be lawn mowing service. There are three main match types: as exact, phrase, and broad match. Exact match, you're pretty safe with. You're going to get searches coming up for lawn mowing service. You're going to get searches for grass cutting service. Anything that's a really, really close fit to the theme of that keyword will come up under exact match. Phrase match, slightly broader. It looks at the intent of somebody, what they're typing in. So here, in this example, we've got hire company to mow lawn, landscaping services to cut grass. It's all pretty much on the same sort of theme, so you're pretty safe with that. Broad match, there's the problem. So here in this example, your ad could show for somebody looking for lawn aeration prices. So my advice to you is don't do broad match. Start off with exact and phrase. Make sure that your ads are showing to as much of the audience as possible before you look to expand to include broad match. Broad match can work, and it does work, but not in the early stages, and not unless you've got all your negative keywords in there and you've really honed in on it. Google is trying to get everybody to start off of all campaigns on broad match. So just be aware of that if you do set up your own campaign. When you add negative keywords, they work slightly differently to how your search keywords work. You have to add plurals, you have to add incorrect spellings, otherwise you can still get searches for the wrong items. Whereas your actual search keywords, it understands, it looks more at the intent, so it understands that people are going to make spelling errors, they're going to use a Z instead of an S or vice versa, and they're going to use plurals, it would ignore that. Add extensions. This is another function that you can add to your campaign. It just bulks out your ads a bit more, makes them a bit more impressive, takes up more space on the screen, and increases click-through rate and your ad rank. These are the main sorts of ad extensions. And just to show you where they appear, they can appear at account level, at campaign level, and at ad group level. So if you want to target, for example, cat food, dog food, make sure you've got the right ad extension at the right level. Just going to have a sip, got a bit of a tickle coming. So for example, you've got an ad group and you're advertising the cat food. If you've only added ad extensions at account level and you've added images for cat food, dog food, rabbit food, horse food, you don't want the wrong image showing for that ad group. So add the right image at an ad group level as well. These are what the ad extensions look like if you've not seen them before. Makes that's what could otherwise be just a 1 or 2 line ad really take up a lot of space and be quite impressive. A couple more. Call outs. If you're adding call outs, ad extensions, these should be your USPs. It's something that should be used to try and really showcase that you're the company that people should be clicking on and that can resolve their issues for them. Okay. When your ads are running, you want to make sure that you monitor how your keywords are performing, and then you can obviously look to improve them. Here we can see we've got keywords relating to coach tours. These are broad match keywords, and that's only because this account has been running for 5 years or so. It's doing really well. So we've actually been able to expand into that, and we've manipulated it so it works really, really well. What you want to aim for is your quality score needs to be about 10 out of 10 for your search terms. Your ad relevancy, your landing page experience, and your expected click-through rate all want to try and get that to above average. It's not easy, but it can be done. The scoring that you'll have will either be above average, average, or below average. And we'll look at these in detail. So ad relevancy, how do you improve your ad relevancy for a keyword? Well, does your ad include the keyword? That's a good starter. Include it in the headlines and in the descriptions. So we can see in this ad here that we've got coach to holidays in various places in the ad. Landing page experience, how do we improve that? Does it include the keyword in the headline and in the first paragraph? Is the page content relevant? And is the content original? You can create a dedicated landing page for keywords that are performing well, and that will just help to increase your landing page experience. It will increase your conversion rates, no doubt, because people will land on that page and think, oh yeah, this is definitely the page for me because it talks about what I've been searching for in several places. Here's an example. This is a dental practice that is promoting implants and locally in Cambridge. So it's a dedicated page. You can see that it's got reference to dental implants in the headline and Cambridge in the subheading. Further down the page, it goes into dental implants in more detail. Nice, simple, and straightforward. Is the page easy to navigate? So look at your menus, look at your links, look at the customer journey, look at it on desktops and on mobiles because they will be different. Is it obvious what the visitor needs to do on your site? Is there a clear call to action? Ideally, you want 1 call to action, but if you need to have 2 at the most, don't do any more than that because then it starts to get confusing and conversion rates do drop off. Here's how not to do it. I nearly died when I saw this site and they wanted to do ads. Every single thing that you can see on here is an individual link to lots and lots of information. It's like a library, basically. Really confusing. You don't know where to look. By the way, I actually had to shrink my screen by 400% in order to get all of the homepage on my screen to take a screenshot for you. The whole page is like that. The whole website is like that as well. So this is how not to do it. Expected click-through rate. This is basically based on how your ads how your ads have performed in the past. You can make changes to make sure it appeals to your audience more. Use the right terminology for the level of the person who's looking for your services. Don't get bogged down in industry terminology if it's not what they would be using. So that will all help towards your ad rank. Your ad rank will basically determine where your ads appear, how often they appear, and how much you are going to pay for them. So it's actually really important to make sure you look at those points. Interpreting potential. Now, a lot of businesses actually don't do this, which does surprise me. They don't really understand how often their ads are shown and how often their ads could be shown. And here we want to look at what's called the search impression share. With this business, it's an aesthetics business, which is notoriously hard to target on Google unless you know the policies and way around it. We can see that they've got 18.1% impression share. This means that for every 100 searches for their keywords, their ads are showing 18 times. Sounds pretty low, but when you look at the number of conversions they're getting 95 conversions. That's enough to keep them happy. They don't actually want any more business. However, understand the potential and what you can do to maximize that potential. In this case, if we look at the number of impressions of 14,800, multiply that up so that we reach 100% impression share, that's essentially 82,400 extra ad impressions that are available. Multiply the conversion numbers up again, assuming the conversion rate stays roughly the same, they could be getting 527 conversions. They'd probably need to open another premises and take on some more staff. Now this, you can see the average client value here is 600 to £1,500. So Google is bringing them in a significant income. They are losing 13% of impression share due to budget limitations. So that's always a good thing to have a look at. Is your budget set too low? Is your target cost per conversion set too low, which is causing those issues? And again, we can see that their ad rank, which we spoke about earlier, is 68% they're losing. So there are some issues with either the landing page experience, expected click-through rate, or the ad relevancy. I know for this one, it's the landing page experience. Look at how your devices are performing. So here we can see that mobiles and computers are converting at roughly the same rate. The section that you want to look at here is the the second column in from the right, which says conversion rate. So we've got computers at 7.7%. and mobiles at 5.41%, pretty much similar. If you had a limited budget, you might consider switching off mobiles and just going for computers, which has got the highest conversion rate. So it might be a better use of your budget. If your budget's not limited, I'd say just leave it be because they're both performing well. The other thing that you want to look at is if you're using an automated strategy, doesn't always get it right. I'm just going to have a throat spring, sorry. Here we can see that we're actually on a target cost per action bidding strategy, which means that Google is trying to get enough conversions in at a set cost per conversion, which it's doing. But when you actually look at the device performance, we can see that mobiles are getting 11,000 impressions. Computers are only getting 1,600. Compare that with the conversion rates, and computers are actually 4% higher conversion rate than mobiles. So there could be huge potential there to exploit how computers are bringing in your conversion numbers. What you might want to do is switch off computers in this campaign, set up their own dedicated campaign just for computers, and just see whether you get some more impressions and therefore more conversions coming in. network settings, Google is trying to make you add search and display and search partners networks all in the one search campaign. Doesn't work. Keep display separate. Test search partners. Give it a month, 2 months. If it's not converting, switch it off. Generally doesn't convert. I would say probably 1 out of 25 works. Yeah, switch it off, and then you can reallocate the budget to the actual Google results pages. Just better use of your budget. Well, you shouldn't say yes to the world's most powerful artificial intelligence machine. Auto apply recommendations. My bugbear at the moment. Google is really pushing businesses to make it all completely automated for the good of the business. It's still learning. It can't do it properly yet. It doesn't understand the nuances of your business, so just don't do it. There are 2 I would say are safe to use, and that's optimized ad rotation and conversion tracking. Couple of the other ones are okay to use if you know what you're doing with Google, but generally don't use them. You can still look at your recommendations instead and make a manual decision on whether you need to actually apply them or not. In your recommendations screen, it will show all of those recommendations that otherwise it would just automatically have done for you. Your optimization score, that's the health of your ad, and basically looks at, have you done these recommendations that we think is right for you? Try and keep your score above 75% because it does affect how Google rates your ads. And you either apply the recommendations or you click on the 3 dots and click on dismiss. You can dismiss them all and your score will go up to 100%. It will keep dropping, so you do have to go back in and redo it all again. But that's generally good practice. Measurement. Only measure the actions that are valuable to you. You don't want to waste money on tracking things such as page views or video views. They might be useful information for deciding on changes that you're going to make to your website. But in terms of paid ads, you only want to track the things that are going to bring you the money in. So the calls, the form fills, the subscriptions, downloads, purchases, etc. Set them as primary goals in your account. Everything else you can set as secondary, so it'll still record it, but you're not going to be paying money to target the secondary goals. AI strategies. Maximize clicks. This is more of a brand awareness strategy. So use this if you've got, if you just want a brand awareness, you want to get as many ads out there as possible. If you've got a really, really small budget, use this as well. It's your best option. Maximize conversions will spend your budget. It doesn't care how much it pays per click. It just tries to get as many conversions as it thinks is possible. Doesn't work straight from the get-go. Google is trying to make you use it straight from the get-go, so don't use that. It works if you've got probably about 5 to 6 conversions in a 14-day period, then switch over to maximize conversions, and it will do what it's supposed to do for you. Don't use it if you've got a big budget, because as I say, it will spend the budget and won't necessarily be profitable for you. Maximize conversion value and target return on ad spend. Those are for e-commerce businesses mainly, which I don't think we've got anybody here on, so I won't dwell on that too much today. Target cost per action is your ultimate goal, where you want to end up. This is the strategy where which is scalable. The screenshots that I showed you earlier of the actual counts, those are on target cost per action, also called target cost per conversion. That's on that strategy, and that's where it can just take off. It doesn't work straight from the get-go. You have to have at least 15 conversions in a 14-day period for it to work really, really well. You there might be the odd case where it will work, but generally speaking, it won't work unless you've got that history in the account. If you've got a small budget and your target cost per action is high, it won't work then either. So they need to be at least level, preferably a budget higher. It's important to monitor your conversions within a 14-day period. And if the number of conversions aren't correlating to what I've just said, you need to change the bidding strategy, because otherwise your account will start to slow down. The AI won't understand who to serve your ads to, so the number of impressions will start to slowly drop off and you won't understand why. Finally, relax, be more smudge. This is my boy. Avoid making too many changes too often. If you do, it does affect the algorithm. It doesn't kind of know where it's going, and you will also be making decisions based on changes that you don't know how they have affected what the data is that you're looking at. So try and leave 7 to 14 days in between major changes. Don't up and down the budget constantly or constantly change the bidding strategy. It doesn't work. And that's everything. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Excellent, Sandra. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I don't know who's going to be brave enough to ask the first question.
Sorry, that was a little bit much.
Just to remind you what Sandra said, there are on our website previous seminars, and indeed as a long-term pitch, there is a full workshop coming up in December, I think, which Sandra is presenting as part of our marketing masterclass. So this isn't your only chance to discover everything there is about Google Ads. Natasha, over to you.
I'd just like to make a statement, Matthew. I think that just confirms for me that if I'm ever considering Google Ads, I'll just phone Sandra. That just, for me, was out of my range of skills.
Yeah, it is quite complex, isn't it, really? But just out of interest, Sandra, what kind of minimum budget is really I know it all depends on what industry you're in, because some industries are more competitive than others, depends how many competitors you have and all that. I know that has an impact, but I'm guessing that 50 quid a month is not going to be worth bothering with. So what's the minimum, would you say, that's worth having a conversation about in terms of budget?
Absolute minimum 500 a month, ideally 1,000 a month.
Okay, that's quite an investment, isn't it, really?
It is, but then when you look at the results and what it can bring in, it's important to understand the value of each client. So one client could be worth, over sort of 3 or 4 years' time, or however long you keep that client, it could be worth £1,000 to you. You might get 2 clients a month out of a £500 spend, so that's £250 to get that one client that's worth that £1,000. It could be worth it, you know, if you work out how much
numbers. Yeah,
it's definitely a numbers game.
Okay, that's interesting. And in terms of how long you have to give it a chance for, because that matters as well. You can't try it for a month and expect it to work wonders. When can you start seeing some sort of ROI, return on investment, if you like?
So I always say to people, give it 3 months, throw as much money as you can at it for that 3 months, because you're then going to give it the best possible chance to give you the results you're looking for, or for you to at least start to say, it's starting to work now. Okay, I feel a bit more confident with it now. If you feed it, it's not going to work. And I think that's where a lot of companies go wrong. They try and just trickle feed it. They make lots and lots of changes. It doesn't know whether it's coming or going, and it can't perform.
No, that
so 3 months.
So has anybody in the room actually tried it?
A few people said that they had tried and failed.
I missed the introduction, sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's okay. I think it is a bit of a beast. Business owners can look after it themselves. but it's changing every day. And you have to really understand the underlying strategies and how it all connects if you're looking to really grow your business. It's all right if you're, just want a few ads and see what comes in, but if you're really looking for growth, then you really got to kind of understand how it works to get the most out of it.
To really get under the skin of it.
Yeah.
Can I ask what might be a really stupid question? Because I've not done Google Ads at all. I've looked at the analytics and the keywords and all of that, but I've never got down the Google Ads route. But where does your Google ad show up? And how does it need to be a video or a photograph? I mean, what's the format?
There's lots of different formats. So it can go on the most common is the search network. So when you're typing in Google, where can I find XYZ? Your ad will pop up at the top of the search result page, above the organic listings, although that is currently being changed. So you could appear at the bottom now, or change. Those are search campaigns that will appear on Google search. Search partners, those are other search engines that are in connection with Google. It can be a video ad that will show on YouTube. It can be an image ad that will show on the display network, which is basically any website across the display network that has got space for an ad. You've probably seen them pop up here and there. Those are generally Google ads. Oh, and shopping as well. Of course, you've got the shopping campaigns.
I do know of a business that has used it and spends about £1,500 a month on Google advertising, but their business has just gone through the roof. It's just, they do shutters, like the Venetian blinds.
Yeah.
And it's just worked really well for them.
Amazing.
Are there type of businesses where it works better for than others?
Yes and no, because a lot of it comes down to you might need to make some changes on your landing page. That's why I say 3 months, because it gives you a chance to understand, is there actually enough audience out there? Make changes to your ad so you've got your click-through rate working really well. You're sending lots of traffic that's qualified traffic to your site, but they're not converting. So why aren't they converting? Is it something wrong with your website? Do you need a dedicated landing page? Do you need to change things? And sometimes that can take a little bit longer if there's a lot of competition, or if it's a very niche business, or if it's a business that nobody's ever heard of before, a service that they haven't heard of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does differ for every business.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I tend to agree with Elaine's comment earlier about, if we're going to do this, do it properly and get someone who knows what they're doing to do it for you. But I think one of the things that you jogged my memory about, which I want to say thank you for, is the whole thing about keywords. And I've been meaning to do this for a while, so you've reminded me I need to get my button to gear to do it, about different keywords for different aspects of the business.
Brilliant.
And different messages and that. So, when you told us this was like a bit more of a masterclass, I thought, oh dear, I'm probably misplaced. You've helped me out. You give me a reminder. So regardless of that, thank you.
Good.
That was a comment I wanted to chuck in, and I've absolutely realised I'm not that expert to advise people on AdWords, which is why I'm happy to refer to Sandra. What I would add, though, is that your AdWords results or your AdWords performance will be of great use for informing your SEO work as to the kind of keywords and key phrases that you target on your website. So it's actually really useful to use the two in tandem, and having a kind of high caffeine kickstart with Google Ads when you first launch a website can give you a lot of information to help build its organic search position over time if you work the two activities hand in hand.
They work very well together. If you run Google Ads, you actually automatically improve your search engine ranking as well. I think it's just because you're sending more traffic to the website, so it ranks it. Google thinks, oh, this is a great website, people are interested in it, ranks it a bit higher. But yeah, the two together, if you can get an ad and you can get your SEO organic listing together, dominate the whole page, people are going to be coming to your website. If you've got the right website, right call to actions, they're going to be picking up the phone to you. And then it's down to you.